If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
When it comes to replayable games, one that comes to mind for me at least is the Hitman series, because we've got multiple ways to tackle objectives, different uniforms so we can sneak into sort of special areas, and obviously multiple ways to take out your targets. So recently, a few months ago, I decided to purchase Hitman World of Assassination on Steam, as I was planning on doing a retrospective on the recent games. And just the other day, IO Interactive, the studio behind the Hitman series, have shown off their brand new James Bond video game, which, yes, I am keen for this. And just quickly with that new Bond game trailer, yes, it's got me interested. It looks like the actor who played the young Dexter in the prequel series of Dexter the New Blood is James Bond here, and it looks like we're playing as Bond on his first mission, and I presume that if this game does well, we'll then get a series of games from this. But from the trailer alone, it looks like there are Hitman vibes alongside action set pieces like you'd expect in a Bond movie, as well as what you'd want in a Bond game, but also there's marketing galore with Triumph, Aston Martin, and of course Omega watches. But to promote their Bond game, a limited time mode was added into Hitman the World of Assassination, where you as Agent 47 are tasked with taking out Chiffre, voiced and portrayed by Mads fucking Mikkelsen. So while in between a few rounds of Rainbow Six Siege with a couple of mates of mine, I decided to boot up and check it out because, well, I was looking for a reason to return to Hitman, and I am a little bit of a Bond fan, so with these two worlds coming together, it seemed like a perfect excuse to boot up Hitman. And speaking of merging worlds together, and you see what I did there, but you may already know this, but thanks to my mates Dantix, Norza, and some of the mates that I work with, I have gotten hooked into the world of Magic the Gathering. And unless you've been living under a rock, then you've probably already seen and heard about the current crossover with Final Fantasy, which has just released. And I've got to say, this set hits a little differently compared to the other ones. Where previously we've gotten sets that have caught my personal interest, like say Lord of the Rings, Fallout, or the gateway drug for me that was the Warhammer decks. Now, these were properties that I love, and they pulled me into the game of Magic, where the Final Fantasy set is kinda having the opposite effect for me. Now, as a kid, I watched my brother play Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 10, but I never played one myself. I, however, have played an unhealthy amount of Magic, especially during my lunch breaks at work. And this set has me actually intrigued to check out the games, which, if that's something you're interested in, let me know down in the comments below. Now, of course, with a Magic set, there are some fantastic cards and featured characters like Cloud and Sephiroth, which you'd kind of expect from a Final Fantasy set, seeing as they're arguably the most popular characters in the series. But I'm recognizing also familiar characters from me watching my brother play Final Fantasy during my childhood, such as the Final Fantasy X characters found in the Counter Blitz Commander set. But Magic the Gathering's Final Fantasy set as well features elements and cards from all mainline games, and we've got play boosters, collector boosters, commander decks, bundles, gift bundles, and even a starter kit. So if you're a fan of Final Fantasy and have been tempted to check out Magic the Gathering, I think it's safe to say now's the time. But Magic the Gathering's Final Fantasy crossover sets are available now. Anyways, Hitman is crossing over with one of the most popular Bond villains in the 2006's Casino Royale's Chiffre, who's voiced and portrayed here in the game by Mads Mikkelsen, and Agent 47 is contracted with, well, taking him out. And what better way to assassinate Chiffre than by actually taking him out at a high-stakes poker game, which is the exact setting that this game mode provides.
That's good!
Now, if you've never played a Hitman game before, you're basically dropped into a sandbox level and told to assassinate a target, and you can do this by any means necessary. Obviously, it won't be as simple as walking up to your target and simply shooting that, and yes, you can do that.
Was that me or was that you?
But you will get killed pretty quickly because, you know, Agent 47 isn't an action hero who can take 1,001 shots in the chest. He is a silent, quick assassin. More so like, say, imagine the Assassin's Creed games, but with guns, and well, if you've got guns, it's easy to get shot and killed. But anyways, You can go in and shoot someone straight point blank in the head if you have that option, but it will also affect how the sort of level is scored. So at the end of each level, when you assassinate your target and you escape, you will get scored on how well you performed. If you just walk up, shoot someone and walk out the door and everyone's shooting at you and you manage to sort of limp out the front door and escape the level, you'll get a pretty shit score. But you can knock out or kill guards or workers, then you can then take their disguises so you can get into sort of limited areas and you can get a bit closer to your target. And then you can find yourself maybe tampering with some equipment, and it's the same thing here with the Chiffre mission. Now, I did do this mission about 3 times over. With each attempt, I tried to use a different method to take him out. Now, the first time, I snuck in as a private security guard and waited for Chiffre to put in his eye drops, which is a really fucking cool little character moment for this level, and he happens to put his eye drops in a private office, but he is escorted and he has security guards in the room when he does this. However, there is a chandelier that is above the desk where he puts his eye drops in, so I decided to drop the chandelier on him. I got shot a couple times, but then I just sort of escaped and ran out. The second attempt was getting rat poison, which I actually found in a catering kitchen on the ground floor, and I would actually put the rat poison into his eyedropper, which would make him sick and he'd run to the bathroom. All I had to do from there was hide in the closet in the bathroom and then wait for him to close the door and start throwing up in the toilet, and then I just drowned him in the toilet, which was fun and better than dropping a chandelier on him, but it wasn't as satisfying as, say, the sort of doing it like a James Bond way, because you can actually play a relatively and simple guided game of poker against Chiffre. Whereas Chiffre is in a bit of strife, he has promised his earnings to a crime lord, and if he doesn't win, the crime lord will eliminate Chiffre for you. So you have the option to basically beat him in poker, he'll then get taken out without you having to do anything, and you can just walk out the door, and it's pretty cool. You'll also have the option to basically gamble against an NPC who's gotten a private invitation to this poker game with Chiffre on the top floor of this mansion. It is pretty linear and the game actively hints at what you should do, but it is kind of refreshing, at least to me, to be able to legitimately make your way to off-area limits without using disguises or stealth. But just like in the film Casino Royale, Chiffre offers you a drink which you kinda need to have before you start playing poker with him, and as a cool surprise, at least to me because it's been a while since I've seen Casino Royale, but he will poison you as you start playing poker with him. And after the first round of poker in this poker tournament, you realise you've been poisoned and you have a short period of time to get to the antidote. And this can change the course of the mission, because if you fail to get to the antidote, it isn't a game over. Instead, you'll find yourself in the wine cellar of the mansion, stripped naked, strapped to a wicker chair, and Chiffre wants to know who sent you and why you're trying to kill him, and you can see the rope and the scalpel and everything on the table, and it's a pretty damn cool Easter egg and moment in the game, I won't lie. The other option is you can actually get the antidote, and then you can actually bribe and threaten the poker dealer to sort of rig the cards in your favor, and that's another way you can sort of get around it. And it is kind of cool when Chiffre thinks you should be dead or knocked out somewhere and he sees you just walk into the poker room, he just goes, "What the fuck?"
What the hell?
But it is also kind of interesting to me as well with this game mode, is not only does it tie into the world of Bond and it's pretty fun, but if you fail the mission, you cannot retry it for 12 hours.
Excuse me? A baking powder?
Which is pretty damn bonkers, I won't lie. And I failed the mission a couple of times. Seeing as it's been quite a while since I've played a Hitman game, I couldn't remember the buttons, the flow of the gameplay. So I went back and did some old missions, or at least I tried to do some of the old missions, because I ran into a pretty damn frustrating issue.
Either way. Go with him.
But Hitman World of Absolution is randomly crashing on my PC, and I'm not the only person to be experiencing this issue.
I'm sure I can get some satisfaction either way.
Game froze.
Go with him.
So it crashed? Yep. Because there are heaps of community forums and Steam posts and Reddit and all that sort of stuff like that about the game just randomly crashing. Now this could be 5 minutes into gameplay, or 30 minutes into gameplay, or maybe even an hour and a half. The game just randomly locks up and crashes back to the desktop with no crash report or anything to send, to the point where I almost gave up on playing this extra mode. Hell, the first time I killed Chiffre by dropping a chandelier on him, The game crashed as I was making my way to the exit. I then checked the forums, I tried out a fair few options and nothing really worked. And thankfully, the last time I tried this mission, I managed to leave the area after Le Chiffre was eliminated and the game crashed in the main menu.
Kids, why don't you step outside for a second?
And this was more than enough for me to uninstall this game until it is fixed with a future patch. But outside of this very, very, very frustrating game crashing bug that occurred within 5 to 45 minutes of gameplay, the Le Chiffre mission itself, just isolating this mission outside of the bugs, is well put together because it's full of James Bond Easter eggs. The general vibe of the mission with its endless options too is pretty damn cool, where you can poison his eyedropper, you can sneak upstairs in a guard outfit, you can win an invite to the poker game, or you can just do a chaotic Agent 47 option where you leave an explosive rubber ducky next to him and then just pop it and watch it go. But Hitman the World of Assassination, this Le Chiffre mission, is available now until the 6th of July. And if you're even remotely interested in it, I'd say check it out and hopefully you won't get the same bugs that I did. But whether you've never seen Casino Royale or you're wondering what creative ways can I assassinate Le Chiffre, always remember to play with each other and play with yourself.